How's it going, everyone? We've got a couple of Xbox on PlayStation updates to note in this video. Still no official announcement of Forza Horizon 5, although they did recently reveal that Forza Horizon 5 is getting a new game mode that does look rather interesting, a free update on that game. But hopefully that announcement will be coming soon. But Phil Spencer has spoken a little bit as far as the future on Xbox, and of course, Indiana Jones has been officially revealed to be coming to PlayStation 5 in spring of 2025. What that exactly means, probably sometime between March and June, if I would have to guess, which does go in line with the report of within the first 6 months of the year. As noted on Video Games Chronicle on Tuesday, Xbox confirmed Machine Games' Indiana Jones title will be coming to Sony's console platform early next year, after its initial release on Xbox and PC this December. It's out in December. It will be a $70 release, obviously baked into Xbox Game Pass as well. Indiana Jones is the latest first-party Xbox title to be announced for PlayStation 5, and I know some people were clowning Phil Spencer because I believe in the initial announcement of the 4 games coming to other platforms, he said that Starfield nor Indiana Jones was one of the games. Yes, within the first 4 games, Starfield and Indiana Jones weren't among the 4 games. So he is still accurate as far as saying that. So come on, give the guy a little bit of a break. I know people have fun with clowning on Phil Spencer, just like they have fun clowning on Jim Ryan and all these executives, but relax. I don't think we need to crap on him every chance we get. I actually quite like Phil Spencer, and you know, I know a lot of people do like to clown on him, but nevertheless, during an Xbox podcast, Phil Spencer spoke a little bit during the company's latest marketing stream at Gamescom, noting going up to the PlayStation announcement, obviously last spring we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, that being Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, as well as Grounded. All of those coming to PlayStation, and we'll have a little bit of an update on Sea of Thieves and its performance. And we said we were going to learn. I think at the showcase I might have said that from our learning, we're going to do more. What I see when I look is that our franchises are getting stronger. Our Xbox console players this year are as high as they've ever been. So I look at it and I say our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been, and we run a business. It's definitely true inside of Microsoft that the bar is high for us in terms of delivery, that we have to give back to the company because we get a level of support from the company that is just amazing in terms of what we're able to do. So I look at this now. How can we make our games as strong as possible, ensure that our platform continues to grow both on console, PC, and cloud? And I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. Spencer did note that pressure facing the games industry, which has seen thousands of job losses over the past 18 months, including many inside Microsoft, and claimed traditional ways of distributing games would continue to change. The last thing I'll say is I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and people are looking for ways to grow. I think for us as fans and players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the more traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change for all of us, but the end result needs to be better games that more people can enjoy. If we're not focused on that, we're focused on the wrong things. I think you're seeing that a little bit from Sony as well, with them releasing their games on PC. Look, these games are getting more and more expensive. That is without question. They're getting more expensive, they're taking longer to develop, and you need to change the monetization cycle of these games. Game Pass is what it is. You've kind of hit the ceiling as far as your subscriber base. What is the option now? Oh, it's to increase the price point, which they are absolutely doing. Okay, you increase the price point. You can't repeatedly increase the price point over a short period of time, although, you know, some subscription services have actually done exactly that. I don't think Game Pass is going to do that. How do you continue monetizing these IPs? How do you continue monetizing these games that are now hitting a little bit of a ceiling? Well, you're selling them on PC already. In the case of Microsoft, you're selling them on Xbox. You got Game Pass. You need to increase the revenue stream. Releasing it on PlayStation 5 is the next move, and Microsoft deems that direction to not be as impactful as Sony deems releasing, let's say, PlayStation games on Xbox, because Sony is not going to be doing that. Even with a game like Lego Horizon, where they're releasing that on the Nintendo Switch, they are not releasing that on Xbox for whatever reason, and that's probably because they still view Xbox as direct competition, whereas Microsoft, their methodology is probably changing a little bit. PC, there's the argument that it kind of exists on an island on its own, much much like Nintendo exists on an island on its own. Hence why LEGO Horizons is being released on the Nintendo Switch. It's being released on PC. First-party PlayStation titles are being released on PC, albeit at a bit of a delay, quite a bit of a delay. But you're seeing this across the board. They're just going about it in different ways. How Sony is trying to increase the monetization cycle of these games, because when a big developer is only putting out a game every 4 or 5 years, well, how do you get more juice out of the squeeze? How do you monetize God of War Ragnarok for even longer? Because it's not like it was in the late 2000s and early 2010s. You're not having a Naughty Dog release 3 Uncharted games in the span of 4 years. That just doesn't exist anymore, but you need to increase the revenue stream somehow. That's where it comes in to do these PC releases. You're increasing your revenue stream, and ultimately, it comes back to, yes, you get a little bit of revenue, but you're trying to get people into that ecosystem. If Microsoft could do it, that would be their MO. They absolutely, first and foremost, want to get you into that ecosystem. They're gonna do everything they can to get you into some sort of that ecosystem. What that ecosystem is, Microsoft looks to be defining that as just Game Pass, whereas Sony defines it more so in the PlayStation bubble and the PlayStation ecosystem. At some point, you have to realize, all right, we've done all we can to drive interest into our ecosystem. How do we continue to monetize these games outside of our ecosystem? And that's where you see PlayStation release their games on PC, as well as now Xbox releasing their games on PlayStation 5 to monetize outside of that ecosystem and still generate some revenue. Where Microsoft ultimately goes, we're seeing Microsoft publish titles like Doom: The Dark Ages. That's gonna be on PlayStation day one. At least I imagine it's gonna be on PlayStation day one. It was announced as a PlayStation title, so I imagine that to be the case. I don't think that's gonna be the case for a Gears of War E-Day. I don't think that's gonna be the case for a Fable. Do I think those games are going to ultimately end up on PlayStation? Yes, but I do think the window of time that they're going to wait to release a Gears of War is going to differ than a Bethesda Machine Games title, such as Indiana Jones, where I do think that's going to be viewed a little bit differently. Now, if they drop Forza on PlayStation 5, that's really where the game has evolved a little bit, because Forza is a brand that is so entwined in the Microsoft ecosystem that Forza coming to PlayStation 5, I wouldn't say it's as big of a deal as Halo or Gears, but if you really talk about the Xbox IPs, for the last decade or so, it has been what have been the standard, the consistent. Forza, Halo, Gears, those are the IPs synonymous with Xbox as a brand, and if all of a sudden, you know, third place, I would say Forza is the third place as far as that. It's a racing title. Doesn't necessarily have that brand attachment that Gears and Halo does, but it's still fairly notable. That being released on PlayStation, I do think is quite a statement as far as where things are gonna go. And even if you look back at what Phil Spencer said in that initial announcement stream, he had said, 10 years from now, exclusives are gonna be a thing that is more so in the past. I'm paraphrasing here, but you get the idea that exclusives aren't gonna be as big of a deal. And honestly, I hope that is gonna be the case, because from a consumer standpoint, I feel like just big games being available on all platforms, that's the best case scenario for the consumer. I understand why exclusives have to exist, especially if you're trying to draw people into that walled garden, into that ecosystem. What's the most effective way of drawing people in? Probably is by marquee exclusives that are really going to excite people and want them to jump into that ecosystem. I've always made the argument that it's going to be very, very difficult for PlayStation at this point to attract people from PC, and I don't think it would be that big of a deal if PC titles from PlayStation first party were released day one, but I know that's a little bit of a controversial take, so let's not even go down that rabbit hole right now. Lastly, I do also want to note that it was revealed that Sea of Thieves has sold 1 million copies, yes, 1 million copies on PlayStation 5, and that is an incredibly successful stat, because Sea of Thieves is one of those games that, you know, selling 1 million copies at a delayed release is already incredibly successful, but that's a game that you could monetize over time as well. It's a live servicey kind of game, so getting another 1 million players from the PlayStation audience, that's incredibly successful. And if an IP, a game like Sea of Thieves, can sell 1 million copies, what's to say that a Halo Infinite could do fairly well? What's to say, you know, Gears came to PlayStation, that couldn't do fairly well? Obviously, they would do fairly well. It's just, you know, you do have to balance that area of how much of the Xbox brand, that Xbox console are you ready to sacrifice? Because at some point it would be like, alright, do I want to buy an Xbox just for Game Pass because all the games are available on PlayStation? That's something that Microsoft is going to assess themselves. But that'll do it for me. Excited to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. I do think this is a good place for PlayStation fans to be in, because there was a time where Microsoft was absorbing all of these studios, and for a while we thought Bethesda games were suddenly going to be exclusive to Xbox forever. That is probably not going to be the case, at least console exclusive. That's probably not going to be the case. I wouldn't even be surprised if, you know, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to come out, you know, by the time, unfortunately, a lot of us aren't going to be in this world, but by the time it does come out, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a day one PlayStation title, because of how quickly things are changing, and that's a game that realistically probably still 4 years out. And by the time 2028 rolls around, honestly, I don't think it would be that big of a stretch to think that Xbox games were coming out day one on PlayStation. I really don't think that's that kind of unheard of at this point, given that, look at where we were 4 years ago. 4 years ago, if somebody told you that Forza Horizon was going to come to PlayStation, people would have looked at you like you were crazy, but that is a very, very possible reality going forward. But that'll do it for me. Again, your thoughts down below, sound off there. Thank you for watching. I actually think Phil Spencer, credit to him, I think he said a lot of things that go in line with a lot of what we are thinking. But again, that'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.